They thought the golden retriever just loved their son. He did. That wasn't the only thing happening. The baby laughed at the dog every time. That part was true and simple and completely right. Elliot, 10 months old, in his white high chair with the blue tray. Eyes going wide and then crinkling shut with the particular full-body laugh that babies produce before they know how to modulate anything. And Chester, their 5-year-old golden retriever, would sit beside the high chair and look at the boy with the patience of something very old and very calm. And Elliot would laugh. And Chester would stay. Their mother, Priya, thought it was the sweetest thing she had seen in her 10 months of parenthood. She filmed it twice. She sent it to her mother-in-law. The thing she didn't notice immediately was that Chester was staying. Not playing. Not wandering off between meals to find his bed or his favorite spot by the sliding door. Staying. Planted beside the high chair with his chin occasionally resting on the edge of the tray. Eyes tracking the boy's face in a way that was attentive beyond ordinary. She mentioned it to her husband Raj on the 3rd morning. He's obsessed with Elliot. She said. Raj said, he's always loved him. It's a dog thing, she agreed. It was probably a dog thing. On the 4th day, Priya introduced a new food to Elliot's meal rotation. A small amount of almond butter thinned with water. Because the pediatrician had suggested early allergen introduction. She put the tray down. Elliot grabbed the spoon with both hands the way he always did, making a mess of it. Chester stood up. He had been sitting. He stood, and he moved his nose to the tray, and then he moved his nose to Elliot's face. And then he stepped back and did something she had never seen him do. He let out a single low sound. Not a bark, something beneath a bark, and moved to position himself between Elliot and the tray. Priya, said his name sharply. He sat down. He looked at the tray, then at Elliot, then at Priya. She pulled the tray back. Chester exhaled through his nose and lay down at her feet. She noticed, standing there, that the backs of Elliot's hands were slightly pink where the almond butter had touched them. He hadn't been eating long. Maybe 3 minutes. The pinkness was faint. Easy to miss. She looked at it for a long moment. She called the pediatrician. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. The pediatric allergist they saw the following morning. Dr. Sunita Krishnamurthy. 11 years in pediatric immunology. Performed a skin prick test. The reaction to tree nuts was significant. The reaction to peanuts was significant. The reaction to several legumes was borderline. She asked when Priya had first noticed symptoms. Priya described the pink hands. She said, I almost didn't see it. Dr. Krishnamurthy said, at the level of sensitivity this test shows, early exposure without an EpiPen in the room would have moved fast, she said. You caught this very early, Priya said. My dog stood up. The allergist looked at her. There was a pause. She said, I've heard that before, actually. The science is this. The immune cascade that begins during an allergic response changes the biochemical profile of the skin and the exhaled breath within seconds of allergen contact. A dog with an intact olfactory system, 300 million scent receptors against our 6 million, detects that shift before it becomes visible. Chester had been sitting beside the high chair for 4 days because every time Elliot ate, he was reading the boy's biochemical output and comparing it to a baseline. The new food changed the output in a way that crossed a threshold Chester's nose understood as alarm. The single low sound was not aggression. It was an alert, in the only language he had. Has your dog ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Elliot is 14 months now. He has an EpiPen kit in every room of the house. One in the diaper bag and one at each grandparent's home. His allergen profile is managed. His diet is carefully structured. He is, by every measure, fine. Chester still sits beside the high chair at mealtimes. Elliot still laughs at him, with the full-body laugh that babies produce before they know how to modulate anything. Chester still watches him with the patience of something very old and very calm. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Priya doesn't film it to show grandparents anymore. She just watches. The allergy team gave them a protocol. 2 EpiPens in every bag. A medical alert bracelet for Elliot's wrist starting at age 2. A laminated card for the diaper bag. A card for the car. A conversation with every caregiver, every grandparent, every person who might ever be alone with their son for more than 20 minutes. The protocol is thorough and practiced, and Priya runs through it the way people run through fire escape plans, with the quiet certainty of someone who has thought about what happens if they don't. Chester does not know any of this. He does not know the laminated cards exist. He has never attended an allergy briefing. He has no framework for anaphylaxis as a concept. He has a nose that processes chemical information at concentrations no instrument in that kitchen was built to detect. And he has spent 4 years learning the biochemical signature of the one person in his world whose chemistry matters most. And when that signature changed, when a new substance on a metal tray produced a cascade of immune activity that began in Elliot's skin before it reached his bloodstream, Chester's nose registered it before anyone in that house had a name for what they were looking at. He stood up. He moved to the tray. He made the sound that was not quite a bark. He sat back down at her feet. It was not training. It was not luck. It was 4 years of proximity and 300 million reasons to pay attention. Elliot is 14 months now, and he wears a small blue medical bracelet that he has already tried to remove twice. He has a favorite color, yellow, and a laugh that comes from the bottom of something, and a golden retriever who sits beside the high chair at every meal with the patience of something very old and very certain. Some things you stop trying to put into your phone. Some things you just sit with and let be what they are. Tomorrow, a story about the dog who wouldn't let a father start his car, and what the mechanic found inside the exhaust system that morning.